नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्ण पुण्य श्रवण कीर्तन हृदयन्तस्थो यभद्राणि विदनोति सुहृत्सताम्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तम श्लोकैर्भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 24, verses 16 and 17. Chapter describes the lineage of Prithu Maharaj. Shri Viduruvacha Prachetasam Giritrena Yathashit Pati Sangama Yad Utaha Hara Pritas Tanno Brahman Vadarthavat. Synonyms: Vidur inquired. Viduravaja, Vidur inquired. Prachetasam, of all the Prachetas. Gritrena, while Lord Shiva. Yatha, just as. Asit, it was. Pati, on the road. Sangama, meeting. Yat, which. Utaha, said. Hara, Lord Shiva. Prita, being pleased. Tat, that. Na, unto us. Brahman, O great Brahmana. Vada, speak. Arthavat, with clear meaning. Translation, purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vidura asked Maitreya, my dear Brahmana, why did the Prachetas meet Lord Shiva on the way? Please tell me how the meeting happened, how Lord Shiva became very pleased with them, and how he instructed them. Certainly such talks are important, and I wish that you please be merciful upon me and describe them. Purport. Whenever there are some important talks between a devotee and the Lord, or between exalted devotees, one should be very much curious to hear them. At the meeting of Naimisharanya, where Sutta Goswami spoke Srimad Bhagavatam to all the great sages, Sutta Goswami was also asked about the talks between Maharaja Parikshit and Sukadeva Goswami. For the sages believed that the talks between Sukadeva Goswami and Maharaja Parikshit must have been as important as the talks between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, as everyone is still eager to learn the subject of Bhagavad Gita in order to become perfectly enlightened. Vidura was similarly eager to learn from the great sage Maitreya about the talks between Lord Shiva and Prachetas. Text 17. Sangama khalu viprase siveneha sharirinam durlabho munayod dadyur asangadiyam abhipsitam. Sangama, association, khalu, certainly, viprarishe, O best of the Brahmanas, Shivena, along with Lord Shiva, Iha, in this world, Sharirinam, those who are engaged in material bodies, Durlabha, very rare, Munaya, great sages, Dadhu, engage themselves in meditation, Asangat, being detached from anything else, Yam, unto whom, Abhipsitam, desiring. Translation. The great sage Vidura continued, O best of the Brahmanas, it is very difficult for living entities encased within this material body to have personal contact with Lord Shiva. Even great sages who have no material attachments do not contact him, despite their always being absorbed in meditation to attain his personal contact. Purport: since Lord Shiva does not incarnate himself unless there is some special reason, it is very difficult for an ordinary person to contact him. However, Lord Shiva descends on a special occasion when he is ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this regard, it is stated in the Padma Purana that Lord Shiva appeared as a Brahman in the age of Kali to preach the Mayavad philosophy, which is nothing but a type of Buddhist philosophy. It is stated in Padma Purana, Mayavadam asatchastram prachannam bodham uchyate mayeva vihitam devi kalau brahmana murtina. Lord Shiva, speaking to Parvati Devi, foretold that he would spread the Mayavad philosophy in the guise of a sannyasi Brahmana, just to eradicate Buddhist philosophy. This sannyasi was Sripad Shankaracharya. In order to overcome the effects of Buddhist philosophy and spread Vedanta philosophy, Sripad Shankaracharya had to make some compromise with the Buddhist philosophy, and as such he preached the philosophy of monism, for it was required at that time. Otherwise, there was no need for his preaching Mayavad philosophy. At the present moment, there is no need for Mayavad philosophy or Buddhist philosophy, and Lord Chaitanya rejected both of them. This Krishna consciousness movement is spreading the philosophy of Lord Chaitanya and rejecting the philosophy of both classes of Mayavadi. Strictly speaking, both Buddhist philosophy and Shankara's philosophy are but different types of Mayavad dealing on the platform of material existence. Neither of these philosophies has spiritual significance. There is spiritual significance only after one accepts the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, which culminates in surrendering unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Generally, people worship Lord Shiva for some material benefit, and although they cannot see him personally, they derive great material profit by worshipping him. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances to all the people present attending this class, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to purify myself by serving Srimad Bhagavatam. So here we see Vidura is asking Maitreya Muni, and he is asking, what discussions could have taken place between the Prachetas and Lord Shiva. So, which is a topic that will be in the coming few shlokas when it will be discussed how the Prachetas meet Lord Shiva. But in the meantime, here Prachetas, son of King Prachinvari or Barisa, son of Antardhan or Jitsiva. They were 10 in number, Prachetas, 10 sons of Prachinvari. Prachinvari himself was a very enlightened and very saintly king who was ruling the earth in the Sati Yuga. So Prabhupada gives clarification that this happened in the Sati Yuga, because in Sati Yuga the duration of life was approximately 100,000 years. So, so here we see that when people are living for 100,000 years, how much one can indulge in bodily comfort, how much one can engage in sense gratification. So the goal then becomes to realize oneself, realize Krishna, and to make sure that the people pass on that information to the people in general through one's own example for them to also perform austerities and achieve that ultimate goal of going back to Godhead. So the Prachetas, they were, it mentions that they performed austerities underwater for 10,000 years, which is like 1/10 of the duration of their life. We have approximately, if we are lucky, maximum of around 100 years in the Kali Yuga. That is also very rarely achieved. And if we dedicate 10% of that time, which is approximately 10 years, in searching for the absolute truth, then there is a chance that we might be able to go back home, back to Godhead. And in this yuga, severe austerity such as going underwater and, in a very solitary place without any disturbance, bodily or like, the three kinds of, uh, you know, those adibhautik, adidevik, and adhyatmic disturbances, free from those, uh, meditate for 10,000 years. An easy process is given in the age of Kali Yuga to chant the holy name of the Supreme Lord incessantly. That is after you have developed the faith, Shraddha. Shraddha is important because otherwise one will always be on a mundane material platform where one will be seeking only material comfort. So, absolute truth is the subject matter of spiritualists, people who are looking to perfect their lives, not from the point of view of bodily comfort, but from the point of view of attaining perfection in the spiritual realm to revive one's original constitutional position. So, when we are situated that way, and then we are dedicating our time to chanting the holy name of the Lord, reading the scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and also like, supplementary literatures like, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nectar of Devotion, because these are written by perfect beings for the benefit. Whose benefit? For our benefit, for the people in general, whoever come in touch with such things, who are seeking the absolute truth. Absolute truth is realized in comparison to the relative truth. Maya is the relative truth. So that's why, because Maya doesn't have its own independent existence. It exists only because absolute truth is there. So that's why you can perceive absolute truth in relatively. That we are engaged in Maya. Maya is engaging us for sense gratification. And if we are away from Maya, situating ourselves to dedicating ourselves to the absolute truth, then we are able to transcend the illusory energy. Maya is nothing but energy, which is illusory. And energy is what? Coming out from the energetic. Energetic is Sri Krishna, the absolute truth. So one has to perceive the absolute truth in order to become supremely, supremely happy. People who are like, doing material labor, they are looking to, Prabhupada says, they're looking to get materially comfortable. And then they try to seek more and more and more to improve the situation from material labor to little bit fruitive activities. Fruitive activities, according to Vedanta, sends you to Swargaloka or in the heavenly planets. The heavenly planet is the epitome of bodily pleasures. But that bodily pleasure or that epitome of happiness in the heavenly realm is nothing compared to the Brahman happiness. Happiness realized through by being in the impersonal Brahma realization. So once person realizes the Brahma realization, he is millions of times happier than the people who are perceiving happiness through their senses in the heavenly planets. And this Brahma happiness is like water contained in the hoof print of a cow compared to the happiness that the devotees experience by going back home, back to Godhead, in the company of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is how that is what one should aim for, that permanent happiness from which there is no coming back to this miserable material world. So that should be the goal. So here Prachetas are doing that and they will come to meet Lord Shiva. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that Epi anya devata bhakta bhajanti yajanti shraddhayanvita tepi mam eva kaunteya yajanti avidhi purvakam. So anya devata means Indra, Chandra, Shiva, Brahma. You are doing it for the purpose of obtaining something material happiness. So then you attain that by worshipping that particular demigod. But such people are like people of devotees of such demigod. They are seeking material happiness. However, enlightened demigods like Shiva and Brahma and others, they are like particularly Vaishnavas, and they sometimes guide such disciples towards that. What are you seeking temporary? You should seek the permanent. And they become their guru. And then they guide them towards Krishna. So they forget about their wrong notion of achieving material happiness, and then they dedicate themselves, just like the Prachetas were enlightened, will be enlightened by Lord Shiva, uh, by Lord Shiva, who sings the Rudra Gita to them and guides them towards Krishna. So that is what our goal is, not seeking material comfort, not seeking a heavenly comfort, not seeking Brahma realization, but seeking only to go back home to our permanent residence from where we have fallen since time immemorial and have created this journey since millions of births by reviving our original spiritual consciousness and going back home to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and who is the absolute truth, who is our real Father. And he is so liberal that he gives us different kinds of rasas in relationships in which we can relate with him. With this, I will stop. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.